The Wheel and the Butterfly, written by Justice3442 and read
by Justice and 3442.
Chapter 1. Prologue. Pinkie Pie looked towards the silhouette of her friend Twilight Sparkle, who was sitting in front of the window of Rarity's boutique. Pinkie was being kept away from any windows so she couldn't be seen from the outside. Having to keep quiet was bad enough, but not being able to even look outside was maddening. These things were very hard to see in the darkness, and it picked a good night to attack. It was bad enough that it was night, but clouds blocked the moon and rain pounded the outside.
"Don't worry, Twilight, I'm sure they just want to make friends,"
Pinkie Pie said, hopefully. Twilight glanced behind her at her bubbly pink pony friend.
"I don't think so, Pinkie."
"Yeah," Rainbow Dash spoke up. "Friends usually don't demand to have you handed over out and try and kidnap you."
"Maybe they just have an extra special surprise for me,"
Pinkie said, smiling, though she was having trouble getting her smiles to look genuine at this point.
"Darling,"
Rarity said, as she put her hoof on Pinkie's shoulder.
"I'm not sure what sort of surprises sinister-looking shapeless blue-black clouds have, but it's doubtful you want to find out."
"You said it, partner," Applejack added. "I don't know what those things were, but they're nothing but trouble." "Do you think they maybe gave up?" Fluttershy asked with a tremble in her voice.
"I doubt that, Fluttershy,"
Twilight responded.
"They seem to really want Pinkie for some reason,"
she added with concern. Applejack spoke up. "Well, I hope Spike gets back here soon. Not being able to kick these things has got me mighty unsettled." Twilight went back to scanning the darkness outside of Rarity's boutique. These shapeless blue-black clouds had identified themselves as the Order Keepers and demanded that Princess Twilight Sparkle hand over the Warper as she and her friends were out prepping for a storm the Pegasi had scheduled. Before Twilight had time to answer, Pinkie popped out and tried to welcome them. Their immediate response was to shift and surrounded her as a swirling mass of dark blue clouds. Twilight did use her magic to keep them at bay, but as Pinkie's other friends came to their aid, it became apparent that these things did little more than billow out of the way of physical attacks. Twilight had held them off long enough for the others to run to Rarity's and hide. She then sent Spike off to fetch a book she thought might give her just some insight into the situation. Though she was starting to regret sending Spike off on his own. She stole a small glance at Rarity. She wasn't confident Rarity had the raw magical energy needed to fend a large amount of these things off, but she was getting less and less confident by the second that these things focusing on Pinkie Pie would keep the otherwise defenseless dragon safe. "Do you think he'll be here soon?" Fluttershy asked meekly.
"Oh, don't worry about Spiky Waggy. He's a tough little dragon,"
Rarity offered. "Darn tootin', he once took out a giant timber wolf with a single rock," Applejack added. "Ah, Applejack, I don't think a rock is going to help much against these things," Rainbow Dash retorted. "Rainbow Dash, when are you going to learn some things are just better you're off keeping to yourself?" Applejack responded, closing the distance between her and the blue Pegasus. "Stop fighting!" Pinkie Pie yelled at the pair. "Spike will be back with the book in no time, and we'll be able to resolve this peacefully. And then we can all have a giant party at Sugar Cube Corner, and everything will be just fine. You'll see." Every pony turned to look at Pinkie. Her perky and optimistic attitude seemed to be visibly crumbling at this point, and it was becoming apparent that she was as shaken up by recent events as any pony. Twilight looked back out the window and her face lit up.
"He's back!"
She opened the door without a second thought. "Hey, every pony, I grabbed the book just like you asked." Spike cheerfully held up a large dusty tome that was even bigger than the little dragon himself. "Oh, sorry if it's a little wet," Spike added. Twilight simply smiled in response.
"Good work, Spike."
Twilight shut the door behind the baby dragon and a purple glow surrounded the book as Twilight levitated it in front of her and flipped the pages.
"Now all I have to do is research a way to deal with these things and send them back to where they came from."
Twilight paused and thought about this for a second.
I wonder if we'll need to go out and get items for my workshop too."
A flash of lightning flashed behind the purple alicorn, followed by roaring thunder. The other 5 ponies took a long, hard look at the pounding rain and howling wind outside. Twilight?" Applejack interjected. "I hate to be a stick in the mud, but I think there may just be a little problem with that there plan." It's okay, every pony," Pinkie said, stuttering her words through chattering teeth. "It's just a little rain," she insisted. "Who doesn't like a little stroll in the rain from time?" Rarity raised a forehoof into the air. Rarity, you can dry your mane later. This is serious, Rainbow Dash insisted.
Well, she asked.
Rarity argued, motioning out to Pinky with her forehooves. Rainbow Dash rolled her eyes. Besides, it's those things we need to worry about more than the weather. Pinky's teeth chattering increased as her eyes darted from side to side. A Rainbow Dash? Remember that thing I said about keeping certain things to yourself? Applejack reminded sternly. Oops, sorry, Pinky, Rainbow Dash offered. It's okay, Dashy. Everything will be fine. You'll see, Pinky said, forcing an unnatural-looking smile. Fluttershy trotted over to her trembling friend and placed comforting forelegs around her. Goodness, Pinky, you're more scared than me. Pinky merely shivered in response. It's okay, Pinky, Fluttershy said with a soft smile. As long as we're all together, everything will be fine. You'll see. Pinky took a few calming breaths and gained some control over shaking. Well, I'd feel a lot better if my knee wasn't so achy-wakey.
Don't worry,
Twilight insisted, looking towards her scare friend.
I'm sure the book...
Twilight was cut short as the door behind her flew open once more. She had little time to react as dozens of eyes peered out of the darkness. A deep blue bolt shot out from the swirling mass. From somewhere in the shadows of the boutique, a red energy blast intercepted it. As the combined energies approached, Pinky quickly pushed Fluttershy away, and before she could do so much as scream, Pinky's vision went blue and red. Pinky's world instantly shifted to a swirling vortex of color as she felt her limbs being stretched out and her fur give way to some sort of fabric. The swirling void soon shifted to hard and solid ground. She tried to stand back up on her hooves, but realized her back legs were now substantially longer and that her front hooves had apparently been replaced by something that ended with digits of some sort. What did Twilight call them? Oh yeah, hands. She steadied herself against a large pole covered in various flyers as she came to her feet, she remembered them being called. She had made Twilight tell the story of how she went to the human world over and over again, so she at least had some idea of what was going on. Her fur had apparently been replaced with a blue and white top with a heart in the middle and a pink skirt that prominently bared her cutie mark. She let go of the pole and steadied herself on her blue boots that had white laces with pink bows at the top. She looked around at her surroundings. She was outside, and just her luck, it was pouring down rain here as well. She also seemed to be carrying a large pink handbag of some sort. Lights lit up streets in all directions, and not a single direction looked uninviting. As she was pondering what to do next, a large, tall figure stepped out of a nearby alley. Pinky turned to greet her new friend, but her smile quickly turned to dread as she looked at the imposing figure above her. The hungry look in his eyes didn't make Pinky confident that he was here to make friends, but always the optimist, she figured it couldn't hurt to try. My name's Pinkie Pie. What's yours? Pinky stammered out.
Names aren't important now. What's important is that you have something I want,
The large man said grimly.
Let's start with that nice-looking computer case, shall we? And then we can see where the night takes us from there.
Pinky backed up a few inches against the pole and tried to fight past her fear to manage a scream. As a man reached out for her, an angry voice rang out behind him.
Hey, glandular problem! You're in the way!
The large man turned and Pinky moved her head so they could both see the owner of the voice, a short man wearing jeans and a green jacket over a black shirt that prominently displayed the word jerk on it. The look on his face seemed to be an equal amount of pure rage and annoyance as he gritted pointed-looking teeth. Pinky wasn't sure if she was saved or if the night had just gotten worse.